it is my singular honor, but also on behalf of the board, I am very, very honored to invite our guest of honor, Lady Justice Susan Okalany, to come and address us. Let's give her a big hand clap. Ladies and gentlemen. You can take your seats. Thank you.
Yeah. Assistant Commissioner Mondo. No nonsense judge. I don't know what I have done to deserve that title from the Assistant Commissioner, with whom we have been working in the child justice sector for many years, very many years. I wonder what to say before I really respect your presence. I have been hearing from very passionate people who have done a lot of work, tangible results, with human beings present to validate the work that they have done. Unlike mine, which is mostly found in papers, you can hardly know that I do anything. Honorable guests, in your respective categories, there was a promise to introduce public officers here, and we in the public service really, really enjoy recognition. Oh yes, it is part of the protocol of working for government. But I'll just respectfully recognize you, although you have not been shown to me. Esteemed colleagues, I have seen many colleagues here. When I call people colleagues, they are not comfortable. I don't know why. And yet we are just in different parts, or we are just different parts of the same system. And when one system fails, we all fail. Yeah. I can tell you that. Fellow advocates of children's rights. This now means civil society organizations, including the Remnant Organization. I don't know whether I have mentioned academia. I want to be very specific. I'm going to read. I came with a 2-page speech, but it is now almost 5 pages because I have been typing as people were talking. I said, but why did they want me to make a keynote speech? I have just met the Remnant Organization just recently through Timothy. I have been working with Timothy for many years, so many years. But and I wondered, why would I be to give the keynote address? Actually, I want to now advise you, the best person to have been the guest of honor in this event should have been the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. They should come and see this. I know the protocols involved. I know the Minister of Gender has been working here. But the minister should be seeing these things in person. And the ministers, the many, the one of youth and children, the one of gender, they should all be here today to see what the Remnant Organization, Generation has achieved. So allow me to read my speech, because I talk too much. And the reason maybe many people do not know what I have done for children is that since I was appointed to the bench where I am at now, I cannot be seen, I cannot be heard. You know, that is the disadvantage of being very important in courts. Whilst I was still a prosecutor, I was everywhere with child justice. I mixed and mingled very easily, and I'm seeing my friends smiling. But now, let me read what I have to read, and then I'll chip in here and there. I'm honored to be invited as the guest of honor to celebrate the Remnant Generation's 10-year transformative journey, which has transformed the lives of survivors of sexual abuse and teenage mothers. I'm proud to be associated. for many years, I looked for such an organization as this, the Remnant Generation, to refer my victims of sexual violence. Most of them were children 5 years below. So I know that, Annabelle, your organization has working, and from the testimonies of the girls that were here, about 11, even the research study dealt with 10 years, 11, and so on and so on. But the cases that we deal with in the High Court, we deal with cases where children have been sexually abused or trafficked, and most of them are children below 12. It's the magistrates' courts that deal with 12 to 17 point something, those below 18. So we really are dealing with babies. And I didn't want to cry at all today. I said I'm not crying. Because I have spent the 17 years as a public prosecutor crying with victims. Sometimes the judge tells me, compose your children, compose your victims, you know? And you, how do I compose the victim? But when you look at the judge himself, he's crying behind his spectacles. He is crying. The trauma, what we call secondary trauma, is real. And we live with it in the bench as you live with it in these organizations that support survivors. I remember sending some of these children to female police officers for safe custody, while some of them I would keep in guest houses or lodges in Kampala. And I even accommodated some child witnesses and their families in my house during trials for protection. And this was risky. Mondo, you are clapping, but this was risky. I remember somebody telling me, supposing something happens, the child falls in your bathroom and, you know, because there's a child I was carrying in my Land Rover, and the child was seated like this in the Land Rover, you know. She couldn't believe it. She was coming from Rakai. She had never traveled in such a vehicle, and I think I was a terrible driver, driving like a mad person. So the child was so traumatized. But the reason I was taking the child to my house with the mother was because they were coming from very far away near Tanzania, and the court was saying it would sit in the next 3 days, and I needed to bond with the child before the child can trust me with their testimony. Otherwise, you will ask children what happened, they're, what? Because they are looking at you, you are dressed like a clown, you know, and they are wondering, what are these people doing here? Annabelle, it was mentioned, and this is a saying by Commissioner Mondo, your background does not define your destiny. You are a living testimony. From your testimony this morning, I confirm that God mostly works in partnership with men. The ministry of men is responsible for the development and progress of all of us. In other words, each and every one of us. And when I mention men, it means female also. It means male and female. That is the biblical standard. It's also the standard in the law. I mean female and male. Each and every one of us owes our progress, our success, to a man or woman. Yeah. And that is just what Annabelle was mentioning from Mrs. Ubega, the pastors who are here. And indeed, I confirm it now, that God works through men. When we retrogress, men are responsible. If you fail to succeed, when nothing happens in the society, men have acted that way. So when children are still being abused in our communities, we are responsible. It is up to men to lift you up or to promote you. It is also men that will pull you down and destroy you. Most times, church leaders and believers focus on words and not actions, leaving wounded majorities untouched in their churches, saying that the Holy Spirit must do his work. And the Holy Spirit has always and always acted through men. I'm now talking like a local. I got saved a long time ago. I got saved in 1987. It was the year that I sat my O-level. And I have always walked that way. So, and I want to tell people that religion is part of our heritage in Africa. Let us use it as it used to be the source of enlightenment. Most of us went to missionary schools. The Holy Spirit established those schools by speaking with men who came and built schools, built hospitals, educated people, built churches. I know there's the way it is tweaked to show that the colonial powers came with the church and the gun on one side and did ABCD. But I don't think some of us would have gotten an education without those institutions. And I want to believe that they had the voice of the Holy Spirit to construct churches, to construct schools, to build hospitals, and to build many other things, even to establish governments. But we have remained there. We don't want to move on. A child, thank you. A child, the reason I am very good at speaking even without a mic is that for many years as a public prosecutor, there were no microphones in the courts. The judge is here, the prosecutor is here, the court is as big as that. So when I'm speaking here facing the judge, the entire court hears what I'm saying. So it has been very difficult for me to tone down in public speaking because I got used to speaking loudly. The microphones just came the other, I think it was 2016, when we were already used to shouting. This is Uganda. And nobody thanks us for that sacrifice. So I wanted to say that a child in contact is usually used for children in conflict. But a child in contact with the law is a child in need of care and protection. Any child who is conflicted with the law or a victim of crime is a child in need of care, and it doesn't matter whether their parents exist. It doesn't even matter whether their parents are living with them. Because I'm always asking parents, educated parents, this question, the mondos of this world. Why are your children not being defiled at the rate at which peasants' children or ordinary people's children are being defiled? It's because the mondos of this world, the opobos of this world, are protecting their children left, right, and center. Especially the girl child. There are many children in my church, I don't allow them to board taxi. When I want them to board taxi, I board taxi with them. We go here, we go there, and then I send them to that route. And I tell them, don't be in that taxi by this time. Call me. If this thing gets you before this time, let me know, I come and pick you. That is called protection. Until the child gets used to the system and the pros and cons and the so many difficult things that our community has, would I release such a child to the public? So most of these people we see here that become victims that need assistance in cases of sexual violence are children in need of protection. Victims of stepmothers, aunties, and uncles who don't care. They have double standards for their children and the children that are under their child whom they did not produce. It's a shocking thing. And for me, I think it's mostly a problem that people, selfish people, who are actually parents, are the ones who perpetrate this. Mostly. Now I'm going to congratulate you. Congratulations, Annabelle. Congratulations, Mr. Mukisa. Congratulations to the board of the Remnant Generation, represented by the vice. Congratulations, Team Remnant Generation. I'm now meeting all the workers, the people that have brought this together. And I want to congratulate the young girls, the beneficiaries of the 3RT model. I am humbled. I would say if I were mean, I would possibly say I'm humiliated. Today I have really been humbled. Because we in government believe that we are the only ones who work, who know how to do things. But today I have been humiliated by the big work. I've called it a big work, which I can't even say. I can't be kind like Commissioner Mondo to say that that you are complimenting the work of government. I can't say that. I can't even say that. This is a novel vision in our country. The South African Prosecution Service has a similar model. The Tutuzela Care Centers, established in the early 2000s. The South African Prosecution Service, the Director of Public, okay, there are many directors of public service in South Africa, but that office of the DPP has a similar model called the Tutuzela model, which was established to increase successful prosecution of cases of sexual violence in that community. Because there is reporting, there is investigation, but there is just the failure of the case because of the way in which the victims and everybody else has been handled. Do you know how our victims are generally handled in this country? You report, first of all, they discover you have been assaulted sexually. Your own parents, they came. You said, you are the one playing with the boys. And you were not playing with anybody. Yeah. And most of the perpetrators lure these children, the young ones, I'm talking about the very young ones, come for a sweet. In the village, a sweet is such a big thing. And the child follows the uncle Gundi, and you ends up being defiled. And every child knows that sexual matters should not be spoken about. Again, this is our own culture. We said it. So children come to court, and I say, what happened? He married me. In fact, even when she says he married me, that child has tried. So the courts now understand marriage to be sexual violence. We just decided to cut the long story short. Because the child says, he made me his wife. So we understand that making a person a wife in these circumstances, that the victim is describing, I entered his house, I sat on his bed, he made me his wife. For us, that is conclusive evidence of sexual whatever. But it has taken advocacy, a lot of advocacy. That's why somebody was asking me, are you a judge or you are still a prosecutor? Or you are a feeder person. You know, you are too much feeder. You should be gentle like judges. So today I got shocked to hear Commissioner Mondo saying that I'm a no-nonsense person. Those are the things that make you a no-nonsense person. So I particularly wish also to congratulate Africhan. Congratulations for your collaboration with the Remnant Generation, particularly in this study that validates the work that has been done by the Remnant Generation in the last 10 years. Asante. This model from my sitting here is a transformative model. Transforming lives of survivors of sexual abuse and teenage mothers through education, through health care, through psychosocial support, through justice, and through spiritual nurturing. Thank you. It is life-changing. I have had the testimonies of people whose lives have been changed. I know some of them, like this lady, young lady, mother of the 9-year-old boy who was wearing a red dress, was really still hurt by the mother who neglected her. Just producing a child does not make you a mother. Yeah. Not at all. There are many things that make you a mother. I hear parents boasting. I said, chia. Parenting is the thing. Yes. Parenting is the thing. It is not just donating. Most of those people are egg donors or sperm donors. They are not parents. I really will pray for you to get healed completely and to live the life that God has already put before you. It is pioneering, I have already said it. It's a holistic pioneering approach to addressing trauma, abuse, and providing a safe haven for vulnerable girls. As I told you, I was looking for such a place. 17, no, it's now more than 17 years. I think I'm trying to reduce my age. Okay, 17 plus 10, what do you get? 27 years ago, I was looking for this place, it wasn't there. But we thank God that somebody had the vision, which vision was written by her own sister, who had experience working with the government department that is working at crocodile speed. I didn't want to say chameleon. That is, we are always accused of the chameleon speed. Government departments, the courts, you report your case today, we'll hear it, and it will take some years, maybe 7 years. But then you have to understand that we are a third, are we? No, we are not yet second class country. We are still in the third world, and we only have less than 100 judges of the High Court for a population of 55 million people. Can you imagine 100 judges? That is why we work very importantly. We are still, we are so few. If we were like police officers in numbers, you would bring your case today and finish it. But the problem is, I am still hearing cases of 2021. Yeah. And we sit there every day, except if we have come here. 9 o'clock, that's why our backs pain us. Most of us have back problems, yes. And our hair is gray, so we wear wigs. Mondo is not wearing a wig. He has a system. Okay, the other thing that I have heard today is that this organization is compassionate. It provides a safe space for survivors, offers counseling, offers Medicare. I almost wanted to be checked in that room when we entered. They said, this scan is so good. I said, over the check, call me. You know? So it offers Medicare, healing, and assists young people rebuild their lives. It is so hot here. Let me use my hanky. I thought I would be finished by now. But there's too much to say. The work of the Remnant Generation has shown that a lot is possible with meaningful collaboration. Meaningful. I'm telling you, we used to have a very meaningful collaboration in the criminal justice or in the justice sector. We called it the Justice Law and Order sector. Oh, we used to enjoy it. We did wonders. At the time, I was the chairperson of the Justice for Children Steering Committee of JELOS. We canvassed this nation. We were actually doing Remnant Generation's work without all the structures that we needed. But we tried. As a judge with over 25 years experience in handling cases, including sexual and gender-based violence cases, I commend TRG's tireless efforts to empower more than 11,000 girls and young women and children, 3,000 I think I was told, through education, healthcare, psychosocial support, justice, and spiritual nurturing. The three RT model, rescue, restore, repurpose, and thrive, is a beacon of hope for vulnerable children in Uganda and in Africa at large. Unfortunately, child marriages are still rampant. I think the panel that came here said it. The professor at Makerere explained properly what the main problem was. I want to baptize that problem another name. I call it patriarchy. Yeah. A system where women have no voice. Period. And the girls from the Antonde said it. Someone is married by abduction. The child is also married through abduction. And the abductor is still wondering, hey, is it true that you didn't agree to marry me? And that is years later. And you see, it looks like it's only a system that happens in Antonde. But child marriages are mostly a result of parents selling their children, the girl child, to cover some poverty needs. It's a poverty problem. And they just want to eat money now, and yet they don't know. I wish they knew. You ask my mother. According to my mother, also who was a public servant, she calls me her shop. That a baby girl is a shop for continuous survival and provision. She doesn't see the end to it. But she has many sons. We are only 2 girls. But she says her sons are her neighbors. Of course they support her, but she knows where all her support comes from. They support her because she's comparing. So she's saying, a neighbor. Then I asked her, why do you say neighbor? And she said, a neighbor can help you with salt, can help you with certain things if they want. They can even have what you want and refuse to give you when they don't want to. But a shop, your own shop will always provide. Yes. So, I mentioned that patriarchy, in my view, is largely responsible for sexual abuse of girls and women. This highlights the need for continued efforts to address these issues. The issues that patriarchy causes, and which the professor of Makerere mentioned very clearly. He mentioned one as the major one, but I'm telling you there are many. Having led teams that successfully prosecuted child violence, including very high-profile ones, and having served as a judge in numerous sexual assault trials, including child trafficking that I still try, I appreciate the importance of a holistic approach in addressing trauma and abuse. TRG's work in offering support and justice to those affected is essential. As a member of the International Association of Women Judges, I think I should link TRG with the International Association of Women Judges. Once in a while, we raise little money, we go around in Kampala, we support orphanages, we do small things. But I think there has been a missing link. The devil has been preventing us from working together with... the devil is a liar. Finally. Indeed, I have observed the effects of trauma and abuse on children. I value your work in assessing the work of AfriChild, in assessing the relevance and the impact of the 3RT model in preventing and responding to child sexual abuse in resource-limited settings. I will thank you again. I want to testify. I have daughters who are victims of sexual violence. Not my own biological daughters, because I don't have any, but children that I met in the course of my work. I will not give their names and many details, because some of them are in their 4th year doing law. They want to be like mommy. But these were victims of sexual violence. One was just 5 years. How did she survive to be discovered? She was abducted from a very far place, brought to Kampala, kept in a house, fenced place like this, and then even the abductor was educating her and other children whom he was sexually assaulting. He would bring prostitutes in that room, and then he would also bring the children on the same bed and have sex with all of them at the same time. Now, one of those children was just 5 years. So somehow manyangas happened, the guy got bail, he ran away, and I was the prosecutor of the case. And the day the guy ran away, this girl was now 8 years. She just fell down and cried. I said, what is it? Then I knew that even children have a sense of justice and want justice. Children want justice. So then I told her, now the man has run. We cannot do anything. To get that man is next to impossible, because he was a foreigner. So I told the parents, who were also crying, give her to me. She will live with you, but I will educate her. So I started educating that particular one, and many others. And that one was the first one. She's going to graduate soon. She's doing a Bachelor of Laws. But I have never spoken with her about that incident. I think I'll bring her here. I'll bring her here so that she meets, we gauge whether she's okay. Psychosocial support. Yeah, because my approach to all those things is evasive. That is the African way. You just pretend. Keep quiet. It's the African way. But from the trauma that I have experienced myself, re-traumatization, we at the ICD, International Crimes Division, and in the High Court now, we have a psychologist. Judges are free because we hear terrible cases. So judges are now free, if you feel like things are not working, to approach the psychologist or to be even referred to Tabika or wherever. No, don't laugh. The psychiatrists are in Tabika. And we do it privately. You know our names, you never find them anywhere. They are just numbers. Yeah. Number 50 has come back again. So I think I would really want to bring my daughter so that she's assessed in this environment, so that she meets these other girls, and I will ask her to do some voluntary work here during her vacation or something. It's the best way to bring her here. I wanted to say, when Commissioner Mondo spoke about Chiche Chigani, and my sister, the police officer, was trying to be evasive. By the way, I want to tell you people, the public servants are like that. we are not supposed to speak for and commit the government of Uganda on things that we are not the spokesperson for. Yeah. I remember the press wanted to interview me, and I told Annabelle, it's impossible. The public service regulations do not allow me to be interviewed. And I start talking, unless the Chief Justice gives me permission to address the public about something. So every time, even I make a decision, and the journalists come, oh, Justice, what did I say? You read the judgment. Read the judgment. But I wanted to say certain things which I always say. Chiche Chiganye. Child abuse remains an urgent problem in Uganda. It is pandemic. You know the soul of a nation by the way they treat their children. Yes. That is how you know the soul is what? Rotten, is going to Guyana. Imagine the whole soul of Uganda going where? Yes. Recent data, 2023, I didn't see, of the Saudi Uganda Child Helpline recorded numerous cases, with most reports coming through their services. The Uganda Police Annual Crime Report indicated that child-related offenses constitute a significant portion of all reported cases. I think that is the 2023 report, reported 10,741 involving children or juveniles as direct victims. Child neglect comes to 1,987, mostly men neglecting their children. Physical abuse, 832, reported. And now these ones, women are also improving their skills in torturing children, especially stepmothers. Now, this 10,000, 12,000 has been like this since 2011. So, and let me tell you, this is just 1/3 of the cases. 2/3 is not reported. So our job is cut out for all of us. The good thing with me is that I don't give up. Not at all. What are the main issues regarding children's access to justice in Uganda? I thought I should mention it, because if I don't, you say Umlamuzi came here, boasted about themselves, and went away. Judicially related gaps and challenges. I'm going to even reach police. But let me start with home. Limited access to courts due to delayed case processing, long distances to court, and associated transport and other costs, including the cost of transporting witnesses. Because the court only pays you when you have arrived. It refunds you. It cannot give you money to come. So most people, peasants in the village, cannot afford it. You give the summons, and the summons is saying, come on Monday, or come next week. Where would they get that money? Was it just waiting for you and your court process? Insufficient specialized child protection training for judicial officers. Some of the judges who are telling me, compose your witness, it's because they didn't have knowledge about child protection. Because that's not my work as a prosecutor. There should be a child protection officer there composing that child. And that child should have already been rehabilitated by the time they testify. I'm not going to say all, so don't worry. Police-related challenges. Negative attitude of police officers towards children in contact with the law. Especially those ones in conflict. They view them as criminals rather than children in need of support. Even the courts do that. But not wondering, why would a child of 12 years kill a person? Is that normal? Lack of knowledge, skills, and information about child-related legislation. Who said we have a lot of laws? The professor said it. Hey, in this nation, we have so many laws, the best laws in Africa. Our Children Act was a copy and paste job from the South African legislation. But they have gone ahead to do a Child Justice Act. We don't have it yet, but I think if we had it, things would improve a little bit. Insufficient staff. CFPU, there are not enough staff in CFPU. Poor coordination and linkages between different police departments, CID, CFPU, etc. By the way, these challenges I'm not reading them from my head. They come from a report that was signed by the then Minister for Gender, Honorable Carol Okul, now my late aunt. So this information is public information. Nobody is going to take me to court for it. Then there is also the challenge. Now let me leave police alone, because theirs are the longest. Remand, probation, social welfare related challenges. Limited resources and no funding for probation and social welfare activities from the central and local governments. Then the fusion of probation function, which is a court role, with delivering social services. We have cried and cried. Probation officers are officers of the court. They can't do social work. But in Uganda, they are still doing it. Then we have, of course, we do have inadequate and unevenly distributed and uncoordinated support services. Totally uncoordinated. You forgive me, but once I have spoken, that's the last. You can't respond. Then there are cross-cutting challenges. Cross-cutting, all of us now. Identification and reporting of child rights violations. This is a problem. Limited geographical coverage for our services. This is a national problem. Partial and disconnected services. Children's services for all of us. Poor case management for all of us. Inadequate logistics and infrastructure for all of us. Do you know that every time that I was having a high court session, when I was doing high court sessions up country, I would do a nursery with my own resources. Then the purpose of the nursery is to keep children in a nice environment before they come to court, with their mothers or caretakers. I really love this center that you have established here. I wish every court had. I wish every court had. Because courts are like hospitals. Everybody comes there. And the ability to separate women and children and take them somewhere because of their special biological issues is a very important thing. Not because we are segregating men. Men can sit and be hungry the whole day. There's no problem. But children and breastfeeding mothers, they need to eat something. They need to drink something. They need to rest. There is another problem, disconnection between policy and practice. That one catches all of us. We are very quick. In fact, today I didn't want to start by reading the legal framework. You would have thought, Uganda, we're in heaven. But we have a problem of policy and practice. Of course, secondary abuse I have mentioned. And there is another problem. The role of informal structures. Informal what? Do you know that almost 3/4, and that is a report which has been investigated, 3/4 of Ugandans, no, not 3/4 of Ugandans, Ugandans with legal problems solve them at the informal level. Only 5% of conflicts come to the courts. And yet we have thousands of what? Cases. But there is a problem with the informal structures. They are patriarchal. That is the problem. They have that problem which the professor spoke about. Traditional systems. So that one also fails our work. It's the main reason why there is no reporting. It's the main reason why our cases fail. After they have been reported, someone again doesn't want to come to court. Do you know that because the courts delay to hear these cases, not out of the court's plan, but because of numbers, most girls get married and do not want to testify again. They don't want to be associated with that offense. So they will not come to court. And what do? We dismiss the cases. And when we dismiss the cases, omulamuzi bamuguze. It's a vicious cycle of poverty. That is what poverty can do to you. We are not yet rich as a country. If we had the resources that we needed, we would have the right resources in the right place. And resources includes human resources, not just structures. In conclusion, as we celebrate the Remnant Generation's 10-year journey, let us reaffirm our commitment to protecting and empowering vulnerable children. The statistics on child abuse in Uganda serve as a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done. However, initiatives like the 3RT model and organizations such as TRG give us hope for a better future. As we move forward, let us focus on collaboration, innovation, and community engagement. Those are the same pillars of this organization. Let us work together to ensure that every child gets access to justice, support, and protection. I would recommend government involvement in the work of the Remnant Generation. That is my recommendation. By funding it and expanding their reach and research. I have seen other governments. I'm not talking Lugambu. You know, the work of children, I think I have benefited most from it. It has taken me places. So in those countries that I have gone, and I know Mondo and other people here from gender, they have done the same. China, no, not China, South Africa, Canada, UK, we have visited Ghana, seeing what works. But you come back with your poverty, just cover those files there, you try to implement what can be implemented without money. So my recommendation, and I'm making the recommendation to government, and government is represented by Commissioner Mondo, let the government of Uganda support and fund the Remnant organization. I have seen it working. The Canadian government and the US government support progressive civil society organizations that work to promote the rights of children and women. They pay them cash, and they even attach public officers in those organizations. So there would be a policeman here, CFPU people would be here, CID people would be here, government doctors would be here, all the relevant people would be here, prosecutors would just get their cases right from here and go to court. I saw such a model in Canada, in Toronto. Yes. So that is my major recommendation. The Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development should champion this. You are the ones who have worked with the Remnant organization. You are the ones who know what they have done. Start the championing. We can partner with these people as government. To TRG, I extend my heartfelt congratulations once more for this significant milestone. Your commitment in transforming the lives of survivors of sexual violence and teenage mothers is truly inspiring. I look forward to continued collaboration to build a society where every child can flourish. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and to release from the darkness, and to release darkness from the prisoners. This verse highlights your organization's role in serving vulnerable children. Asante sana.